This is Jake Seeley, and I'm the blown ACL that ruins your football season.
Good news, everyone! Let's get dangerous.
This is so cool!
I know!
It feels so right!
It's Jake Seeley.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Nice try, Moonman! Pretending not to know! Earth's greatest mastermind!
You just made the list!
I thought you said that was a myth.
Just because it's a myth doesn't mean it's not true.
If you all blindly follow my plan, we may have a chance.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
Game on, you ducks. As you know, this is the long one with Pat Mayo and Ian Hartitz. Well, Ian for just a short bit because he was having problems this week. So kind of the old days of Pat and me together. And as always, make sure you're subscribing and liking the podcast and sharing with everybody. And we're about to jump into it. Plenty of bleeped out curse words from Pat Mayo because that's what he does. Okay.
This is the Week 13 rankings debate, and you better pay attention because there's 3 games on Thursday, 1 on Friday, the rest on the weekend. Ian, you could be done by the time you actually finish Thanksgiving dinner.
I know, man, and we only got 2 weeks left before those fantasy playoffs, so I know a lot of you might be tempted to take it easy these next few days, but come on, we got time to rest later.
Yeah, and Jake, this is right around, I mean, our trade deadline's passed. I know mine is passed, but we tend to do ours earlier. Is it this week or next week for regular leagues? This week, right?
This year made it fall weird because we had the later start to the season. So there's a lot that were last week, but there's a lot that spill over. Like a lot of default on sleeper ended up this week. It's a weird year because of that.
Any last second trades you're trying to make? Any guys you're trying to target?
I mean, Derrick Henry, but it's almost too late. Ian kept bringing it up. Winter was coming, and he got started early before December got here. But I was on the buy low on Justin Jefferson because of the amazing playoff schedule. But that's only with who would have thought we'd be hoping for Bosmer to be at quarterback at this point?
Well, it looks like he is going to be a quarterback, doesn't it?
Which is a good thing. By the way, you'll appreciate, Pat, somebody just quoted you to me. I was tweeting about Sanders yesterday, and they said, in the words of Pat Mayo, give your head a shake, pal.
Were you saying that he's good? Because you'd be correct, because he's maybe the best quarterback of all time.
No, my point was legitimately whether you think he's good or bad, if you can't just embrace the fact that he was having fun in the interview and said this is a blessing to be starting and joking about, let's practice more and get better starts. Like, just enjoy that and not call that like conceited and all that type of stuff. Then you've already made your decision. You hate the guy. That was my point.
I mean, it did come off Ian as like kind of like a wrestling promo, which I very much enjoyed. I thought it was great.
It's just been this so decisive conversation with them, even going back to Colorado days. I rooted for Colorado. I just think it's fun when we have more fun teams. I think it's more fun when we have more good quarterbacks. Hopefully Shador ends up being awesome. Kind of doubt it, but hey, 1-0 is a starter. How about that?
Hey, look.
Hey, we'll move on from it, Pat, but like I'm with you, but also it's 2 different things. Here's the exact thing of what we have in football. Jackson Dart having fun in interviews, doing the exact same thing, eating W's with Jameis Winston. Shedeur Sanders has some jokes and talking about like having fun. And mind you, the full clip is talking about how he's blessed to actually be starting. And he's a conceited jerk. But Jackson Dart's awesome.
Wonder why.
Can't quite figure it out.
Yeah,
I wonder.
I
heard the laugh in the background.
I just hope he's good because I think it's fun. But if you're gonna be bad, being like arrogantly, obliviously bad is kind of funny at the same time too. So I'm just here for all of it.
I mean, he's not that bad, but I think it would actually be even more hilarious if it was Gabriel that was doing that because he is definitively bad.
I mean, do you really think that Gabriel's worse than Sanders?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Yes.
Ian, your evaluation?
Honestly, they're a little bit similar in terms of both guys are, let's face it, they're not really fast enough to stress defenses on the ground. They're not tall or big enough to be these, physical, just, making up for anything there. They don't have huge arms. Like, they kind of need to win on just being smarter in defenses, being very accurate, precise, on-time passers. Like, we're not seeing a ton from them out of script, out of structure. Like, they aren't physically talented enough to do that. And that's very tough for any rookie quarterback to do. So there are some similarities there. I would take Shador. I had him ranked higher than Gabriel coming out, but I think the answer is probably just no.
Yeah,
you know who they're both better than, Pat? JJ McCarthy. Ian, how's your boy Thor doing right now?
Unfortunately, Thor has taken his talents to another company, so we at Fantasy Life no longer need to pretend that JJ McCarthy is good at football. I'm just kidding. We weren't really pretending in the first place with that, but yeah, shout out Thor.
Yeah, Thor I was talking to him. He took a dream job at somewhere in Minnesota. Sounds awesome.
Hey, go for it, man.
It's got to be more awesome than JJ.
Jeez, you're really burying JJ. Dude's made what, 6 starts?
And definitively has looked worse than Sanders' one start.
That's probably true. Although he had that like one quarter you can always latch onto.
It can be. I'm not burying either one of their careers. Like, like as somebody that wasn't even a fan of McCarthy, there's still plenty of time to develop, and he's got the head coach that can do it. But I will say, like Trey Lance, if Shanahan can't fix you, and if Kevin O'Connell can't fix JJ McCarthy, he doesn't have a career.
So does that mean that Mac Jones ends up becoming the Viking starter next year?
Or Kyler Murray?
Now, Kyler Murray is most definitely, I was going to say the Jets.
Raiders?
I could see, Raiders makes weight. No, the Raiders need someone worse than Kyler Murray, like some other reclamation project who's no good. I could see I know they have to eat the Tua contract next year. I could see Kyler being the Dolphins quarterback or the Panthers quarterback.
That actually makes sense.
Like Ian, in the scheme of how Bryce Young, Canales runs it for Bryce Young, if you just inserted Kyler Murray into that spot, they'd be way better.
I mean, Kyler would give him that off-script scrambling ability. The problem is basically every snap Kyler has ends up being an off-script play because he can't see over the line of scrimmage. As much as we try to say that doesn't matter, like it clearly matters. We've seen that, with his ability to get the ball to the outside wide receivers. But no, I think the Miami call makes the most sense, man.
So if you have a trade deadline question, you got to be subbed to the channel so you can dump it into the chat. You might as well smash the like while you're here as well. Let's get to running backs for week number 13. We got a few guys up in the air, even for Thanksgiving. Primarily right now, it's Josh Jacobs. I think Jacobs will probably go if he was close to going in week number 12 against the Vikings. Maybe they knew that they were going to kill the Vikings. Like, hey, let's give Emmanuel Wilson some run. It'll be fine. So Jacobs probably back for that game against Detroit. Kamara probably going to be out against the Dolphins, which means Dinosaur Neal ends up starting at running back. Bucky Irving, is Bucky Irving back this week or is he never coming back? Like, what's going on with Bucky Irving?
His reports are he should be back, but I mean, the problem is it was 2 injuries versus the fact it was only 1, and that was the biggest issue. Is because they said late in the injury process that it was more about the shoulder at this point and being able to take that contact with the shoulder and not basically end a season if he gets another bang shoulder. Really good. I'm not so sure, but real quick, just to backtrack on Jacobs, because you get the extra layoff on top of that. Like I could see them being just like, why not give him the 1 extra week?
I could most definitely see that, Ian. It seemed like, to me, if he was close to playing, that he would end up playing this week. But if you get an extra 10 days off, whether they win, even if they lose to the Lions this week, they're still in the playoffs at the moment.
Jacob said himself last week he thought his worst case scenario was going to be missing this past game and then being back for Thanksgiving. So I am expecting him to be back. Said it was more of a bone bruise type of thing anyway, which I'm sure is still quite painful. But Jacob's been a little bit banged up all season long. I think he'll be out there doing his thing. 28 touchdowns in 28 games with the Packers. If he's starting, then we're starting him.
I agree with you, but early in the season when he had the calf injury, although he scored the touchdowns, he wasn't very productive, even in good matchups.
He's why
been fine. I know he hasn't had 100 rushing yards, but I mean, we're still doing these rushing yard things when guys have 130, including receiving. So Jacobs has been an RB1 all season long. I don't think we need to overthink it.
I'm with you, and I think if it was Jacob's choice, I'm with you, Ian. I think there's a non-zero chance he sits out just because it's the Packers' choice at the end of the day. And to Pat's point, he was basically playing through injuries for most of the season, so why not just get him 100%? And good job, MetLife Turf, once again. By the way, if anybody saw me laughing on video, Pat, I don't know if you saw the comment, but smash your laptop or like the button.
Yeah, it's one of the two. You don't want to smash it too hard, or it's going to be very, very costly to replace your screen, as I found out. Benson and DeMercado may not play against the Buccaneers this week for the Cardinals. Pacheco looks like he's going to be back on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys for the Chiefs. And on Thanksgiving, no word yet on Samaje Perine. Taj Brooks suffered a concussion, which I assume was on a special teams play last week for the Bengals, because it's been only Chase Brown in that backfield. If Perine is out again, then it's going to be just all Chase Brown all the time against the Ravens. The one thing with Bucky Irving, now this is kind of a weird situation to think about here. Now that Baker's hurt, you take a look at their next few games. Obviously, they play the Cardinals this week. Then they go Saints and Falcons directly after that. Then they close with 2 of 3 games against the Panthers. None of these teams are getting a wild card spot. Do you just keep all of these guys out until week 16 when you play the Panthers? Like, if you beat the Panthers twice, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not afraid of the Saints or the Falcons at this point with Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, I can see your point saying that, like, if Baker isn't ready to roll this week, why not just hold him out against Arizona? And then maybe we have the same conversation again against the Saints. And then they start thinking about it against the Falcons, depending on how those 2 games go. But I see where you're tracking with this, Pat.
If you don't need to win the games, and the whole point, I mean, not that you don't need to win them, but you're going to presume that like Carolina's not beating the Rams this week or anything like that. That if you just simply beat Carolina twice, you win the division.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs are on a 3-game skid right now. I think if they were, doing a little bit better in recent games, they might have that luxury. But I think if Baker is going to be healthy enough to be out there, he'll be out there. Same thing with Bucky. So, I mean, Jordan Love, honestly, I think is kind of playing through a similar issue as Baker right now. So it is that left AC joint. We saw Jordan Love only handing off with his right hand last week. So, again, we'll see what happens. I do think just what you're talking about with the schedule, which is why we've been hyping up that Tampa Bay DST, could at least compel Tampa Bay to be a little bit more run heavy. And maybe if Bucky isn't 100%, we see more of a split with Sean Tucker. So good, good stuff for Tampa with the schedule, but maybe a few less fireworks than usual.
Well, Ian, do you want to do me a favor? Do you want to log out and log back in here on the live show? Because your internet's failing us a little bit. Maybe a reboot. It will be where we're at. Jake and I will go through the rankings, and then we'll hit you with questions once you log back.
We'll trash you while you're gone.
Yeah. So
I will say to your point, Pat, about the schedules is that Carolina, I was going to say Carolina could still have the better record, even if they lose both against Tampa Bay.
They could, but they're probably not.
No. I was going to say more likely not, because they have the Rams this week and then they have the Seahawks in week 17.
That's exactly why I'm bringing it up, that it doesn't seem like Carolina's going to get there anyway. So if you just beat them twice, you're going to be fine, because even if you tie, you'll end up with the tie break. And if you beat them twice, you'll probably end up with more wins regardless. But rankings at running back. Ian's rankings from fantasylife.com. You can get mine, Jake's, and Ian's down in the description. The only ones that are released right now are Ian's. Jake's come out tonight at midnight. Mine come out on Wednesday afternoon in the newsletter and 4for4.com if you're looking for them. Jahmyr Gibbs, number 1. McCaffrey, Taylor, Bijan, Achane, top 5. Henry, Cook, Barkley, Chase Brown, Jacobs, number 10. So these rankings do reflect that Josh Jacobs is going to be back in. Kyron, Javonte, Rico, Bucky, Trevian Henderson, number 15. ETN, RJ Harvey, Kareem Hunt, Judkins, Genty, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Swift, Warren, Woody Marks. That's the top 25. So, Jake, question about Henderson. It was still a 65-35 split between he and Ramondre, with Ramondre coming back last week. Do you think that gets closer, that they ease Ramondre back in and down to O-lineman for at least this week? How are they going to be able to run the ball?
No, so one is I don't think they get too much more involved, but the thing was they were already involved enough, and I say they because it was Stevenson and Terrell Jennings going a big fat 0 yards on 3 carries at the goal line. Good job there, Mike Vrabel. And not that like Henderson's this great between the tackles, because earlier this year, that was the biggest issue, is like he was wasting trying to use Henderson between the tackles, which that's not his skill set. Well, I mean, he can, but you get my point there. He's better outside and in space. So I do think you could see like 30% to Stevenson and even Jennings. But the biggest issue is that that's going to come down to the goal line touches, the goal to go touches. And that's where the threat to Henderson is. And that's why he's now an RB2. And then you brought it up. There's down 2 offensive line, definitively 1 done for the year. They're a really good rookie, and potentially 2. So they had some issues when they both got banged up in that game. New England against the Giants, though, I think having Henderson at 15 is still okay, because that's the one thing the Giants can't do. Like we talked about it last week, the Bengals, Bills, everybody focuses on them. And for some reason, nobody ever brings up how bad the Giants run defense is.
I think it's out of sight, out of mind with the Giants. And it's harder to run against the Giants, Ian, because they get up by like 20 points in every game. People are like, I guess I got to throw against you now and beat you.
I mean, it is only the Bengals and Giants allowing 30-plus fantasy points per game to opposing RBs. So that really is why I have Henderson as high as he is. But that is kind of the point in these rankings. I would honestly say after Rico, you could even argue Javonte, where I start to lose just a little bit of faith. So if anything, I could bump Travis Etienne maybe up a spot or 2. I'm not trying to get into the whole Bayshall Tootin discourse, but Etienne playing good independent of all that. We'll see if Ramondre guys get a little bit more involved. But honestly, man, even before Ramondre got injured, this dude was not making the most out of his opportunity. So I do think it's a very encouraging sign moving forward for Trevion.
Do you think 6 is too high for Derrick Henry? Because he didn't look good against the Jets. He just happened to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, who cares? Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Like he averaged 3 yards a carry against one of the worst run defenses.
And he scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
what do you want?
Like the 3 yards per carry, some of that's relative to the fact that like a lot of it is short yardage carries for him.
I guess. Like, how many goal line carries do you need to score touchdowns against the
Pork chop sandwiches?
No, and he converted. I mean, some of those are also 3rd and 2s that they're turning to him, which, the team's going to stack the box and all they're looking for him is to get the first down. That's my point. It's like, I get what you're saying. Like, he doesn't look like Derrick Henry of years past, but it's also, we're getting to December. He gets the touchdowns. And like, if there's one running back that I'm going to bank in touchdown equity, it's Derrick Henry. I actually thought that when you were going to say who's too high, I thought you were going to say Barkley at 8 at this point.
Pat's had a vendetta against Henry all year long. Let's face
That is
it.
true. That is true.
Yeah, more biases. I will say there's a little bit of like an Ewing theory going on. Shout out Bill Simmons back in the day, where like once the Jets have lost Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner, they actually haven't fallen apart on defense, maybe like we expected. Held up well against Travion, that ground game as well. So not exactly worried about the matchup, but just Henry against the Bengals. Again, if you wanted to put James Cook and maybe Jacobs and Barkley ahead of him, okay, but he's still top 10 either way.
Ian, did you not pay your internet bill?
I don't know what's going on, man. I'll replug.
You're in like 360 format.
I was going to say,
and now your audio is cutting
upgraded
out.
to the 144K from the 28.8.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift is at 23. Monangai is at 32, who outtouched Swift a week ago. Jake, would you presume that flips back this week and Swift ends up becoming the guy, or is this just a spot against the Eagles where you probably don't want to start any of them?
I could see not wanting to start either of them. I do think this goes back to Swift at least for another game. This was basically Swift fumbled and barely saw the field or saw the ball after that. So if you take the entirety of the game up to that point, it's still Swift, time sharing, Monangai. After that, I don't know if a message is being sent. It's just, and I brought this up in the waiver column. I wouldn't be shocked if they start to lean to Monangai, but still at the same point, we started the year with DeAndre Swift not being that impressive. Ben Johnson stuck with him. Swift starts looking amazing. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is what we've been waiting for under Ben Johnson, top 15 running back. And then one fumble is going to finally change the script for him. Like, it just seems to not make a lot of sense, but I wouldn't be shocked by it. I agree with his ranking of Swift over Monangai, but I do think there is heavy risk involved now.
I think I would play both Pittsburgh running backs over DeAndre Swift this week against Philadelphia. I just think that when you take a look at how the Steelers were able to move the ball against the Bears, and you can run on the Bears, everyone knows this, and they were very successful in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of that game, trying to just pound it between the tackles, run it off tackle. Gainwell was getting huge chunks, so was Warren. And then they just got away from it in the second half once they started to fall behind. But that was really working. You know what works against the Bills? Is running the ball as much as possible.
Yeah. And I don't have a fault. Like, if you want to go both of them, who has Swift, I would definitively go Warren over Swift. The fact being, though, Kenneth Gainwell is definitively the same situation that we were worrying about with Travion Henderson. He was getting all the goal-to-go work, which is what we have the slight concern. But Warren over Swift, I agree with you. Gainwell over Swift as well. I lean to the fact that it's against the Eagles and you're going to want to get somebody in space against the Eagles and in the passing game. And I lean to slightly Swift. I don't have a fault with it, but I would go Swift slightly over Gainwell, but they'd be close. They'd be closer than Ian has them. Yeah.
Would you keep Tracy over Singletary at this point in time? I know he's getting the chunk yardage. It still does seem like the valuable touches go to Singletary.
So this was the first week. Tracy actually had two goal to go carries, and Singletary only had one. I'm not believing that this is definitively going forward, but those are actually the first 2 carries Tracy's had goal to go on the entire year. So maybe Kafka saw enough to say, like, all right, let's use Tracy because Singletary is Singletary. Again, this is another one, though. Like, is it 1 week? Because we've seen this before from other teams where 1 week doesn't mean anything. I would still go Tracy, but it's not something I have a lot of faith in. I mean, like, look at all these 20s. All these 20s are split backfields that we don't have a lot of faith in, period, anyway.
Well, one of the interesting ones at number 28, Ian ranks Alvin Kamara, who I don't think is going to play. So Devin Neal would end up becoming the starter for the Saints in Miami. I think I would like him. Like, do I like him more than Woody Marks and Tyrone Tracy? I probably would, to be honest with you.
No. This is the first game Devin Neal's done anything, and it was in the passing game. He hasn't looked good, and that's from somebody that I thought was a decent rookie stash for behind the fact that with Kendre Miller not looking good in previous years. So I would go Vidal then Neal.
Vidal then Neal. Vidal got banged up, Ian, against Tennessee the last time we saw him. Just assuming that I haven't heard anything coming out of the bye week that he's fine.
His internet still.
Yeah, my 20 220K. Sorry, fellas. I don't freaking know, man. Taysom Hill is being really annoying in this situation. Amarian Hampton could be back. I'd rather not start either if I can help it.
Amarian Hampton might be back for this game. I didn't know that.
This is his first week. He can be back.
He's not going to be back, is he?
I mean, there was talk about it before their bye. The only issue is because it was their bye, we haven't heard anything about whether or not he was practicing.
You put Dowdle at 13, Ian. That was before the Monday Night Football game when you sent these to me. We saw more of a split in that spot, despite Rico almost rushing for 7 yards a carry. They decided, you know what? Let's try to pass as much as possible and not give the ball to Rico. Do you think that could slip back here against the best run defense in the league? The best defense in the league is 10-point dogs. I think I'd probably bump him down.
Yeah, I'm fine a few spots. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Rico go crazy. So, I mean, Packers game was nice. Maybe benefited a little more from the Dolphins and Cowboys than we gave credit to as we were, living that fever dream of him just going crazy. So I'm cool with a few spots. Still should see, I would think, 15 to 20 combined touches, per week. But yeah, it's a situation where we saw them willing to take away Chuba's job for Rico. So it shouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. Now that, again, they're at least, lessening that workload. So Rico, good RB2, probably not the world-beating RB1 he looked like earlier in the year.
Jake, Benson is ranked in Ian's rankings at 31. Bam Knight is down in the mid 50s, like 56. Do you trust Benson in his first game back in a good matchup, like what that split will end up being? And if he doesn't end up going, where does Bam Knight go to? Like 20?
No, so the team's a good matchup to run defense. This is a bad matchup for running backs, really bad. As we just saw last week, the Bucs run defense is the Bucs run defense from what it was a few years ago, where this is worrisome at this point. Worrisome in the tiebreak fashion. Like if Travis Etienne, to not even take the top tier of running backs, but if Travis Etienne was facing them versus Judkins in a good matchup, that would be the point, is to flip it in that aspect. It's not run for the hills in running back. So that's where I was saying is it's not a good matchup for Benson, and the fact that you hope the Buccaneers can push the pace, and then it's a good matchup for scoring. But for runs, I think Benson, where he has him, in his first game back, we've waited for this long. It would sound like they're being super cautious with him. So I would actually go a little bit higher, but I think part of that might be the Buccaneers matchup. I would kind of say Benson more around Tyrone Tracy. If there is no Benson, again, Bam Knight in this matchup to hope for a touchdown, I would still go Tracy Jones. He'd probably be in the Vidal conversation.
Ian, where would you rank Rachaad White and Shad Tucker if Bucky Irving doesn't go again?
Man, Tucker kind of in that borderline RB2 spot. I'm seeing DeAndre Swift, Jalen Moore, and Woody Marks probably around there. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I was going to say right around the Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift range. We had a little bit of conversation about Swift when we were trying to reboot that internet, but I think that's the range that Tucker would be. Rachaad White behind him, but as you brought up, Pat, as that was the thing, is they're still using Rachaad White in the passing game. So this is one that you would expect the Buccaneers, but this was also come down. If it's no Baker Mayfield, we're downgrading everybody. You even saw the report, they're we'll have to redesign the offense for Teddy Bridgewater. I don't care. And I don't know how much of effectiveness you're going to have in 1 week redesigning the offense. So I would have Teddy under center with no Bucky Irving. Tucker would still be higher, but Tucker would be down now to that similar conversation before for Devin Neal, Kamani Vidal, just because Teddy sinks all the ships. The low tide lowers all ships.
Teddy sucks, man. I'm sorry, we had that horrible knee injury back in the day, but the fact that this dude gets as much praise as he does for being an objectively bad quarterback for a decade is crazy to me, man. That dude should have never left high school coaching.
It's because he's an paycheck, I guess, yeah, I was gonna say it's because he's an awesome person. In high school, he got jobbed over because he was driving kids that didn't have cars.
That's a problem.
Cool. You can't be a professional quarterback. I don't care how good of a person you are. It could be Johnny Manziel if he's a better, quarterback out there, which he's not. I get it. But just the whole PR thing with Teddy Bridgewater is crazy. It's like when Alex Smith came back from that horrific leg injury and everyone had to pretend like he was actually still a good quarterback. Just, it's annoying.
Hey, Johnny Manziel couldn't even finish half a season of Special Forces, man.
Oh, he got kicked off that show?
Bad example.
Yeah, Nicole and I watched that show. It's actually pretty interesting, although they don't really go full bore with what they're asking them to do. But yeah, he made it half the season.
The last time I saw Johnny Manziel was on a bachelor party in Montreal, and he was having a cigarette outside of a club. So
He definitely is not in complete shape, and it kind of gave. You feel bad for the person because he admits the fact that he got way over his skis with the praise and the love and thinking he was the best thing in the world when he won the Heisman.
Kareem Hunt is being ranked at number 18 right now. That is without Pacheco, Ian. If Pacheco comes back, I would still play Hunt over Pacheco, but I would bump him down. How far do you think you would bump him down?
Yeah, I was looking around RB 31, probably right ahead of Trey Benson. Hunt's been good with his opportunities. Not
now he's full gone.
18 for 20. I'm picking up 3rd and 4th and 1. So, making the most out of his opportunities. I'm with you, though. Pacheco will be more like RB 40 for me. So Hunt over Pacheco for now.
All right, Ian, your audio is cutting out on us. We're just going to drop you. We'll talk to you next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Love you, Ian.
Love you, Ian.
Love you guys.
See you then. FantasyLife.com at iHeartits on X. If you got any more questions for Ian, Jake, we're doing this old school, just me and you.
I know, running it back like we used to, so that we could get some more yelling going on, possibly.
Yeah, maybe we can get it going here, or maybe is Ian still there? Just get him audio wise. Would that work?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Ian, just to turn off his video. Ian, are you still there? No,
I'm there. It looks clear as hell on the stream where it's just Jake and I. I don't get it.
It sounds like when we don't have your video on that you can hear us well. No,
I hear you guys fine. I'm telling you, I look clean on the other view, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm actually you're on like a 3 to 5 second delay on everything that we say.
he's calling being satellite from another country.
I'm out. Enjoy, fellas.
All right, dude. See ya. All right, Jake. If Josh Jacobs doesn't play, how high do you rank Emmanuel Wilson?
I was so tempted to play a joke and just freeze myself. But anyway, Emmanuel Wilson with that bell cow work, I think you have to put him in the conversation. Like, I know people want after that game to put him as an RB1, but against Detroit, this isn't the same matchup. I would have him right around Trevion Henderson.
I was gonna say I would play him over Henderson.
Yeah, I was gonna say slot him in right there. I would still go Dowdle. Oh, Dowdle against the Rams. I would say Wilson behind Javonte.
So Wilson at number 13, so the highest end of running back twos in a 12-team league.
Yeah, and if you wanted to argue for Javonte behind him because he's facing the Chiefs run defense, which is not what it was last year, where it's like, oh my God, you don't start anybody. But it's in the range of like, if you wanted to argue for him over Javonte, then I'd be okay. I think we should also bring up the fact that I'm not worried about Kyron Williams.
Like Kyron Williams because of what happened on Sunday night, that like you're not worried about him going forward? Because I'm not either, but people?
No, I know. Cool. Because a lot of people seem to be. The split was still 65-35, and that was a pure game plan of why I go back to that as the run defense they're facing. They went pass that game.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me. I'm trying to see if there's any other injury situation. RJ Harvey at 17, even against Washington, does seem a bit lofty. I like RJ Harvey and everything, but it's not like he was amazing in his first start. They were just using, I think, was it Jaleel McLaughlin?
Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah, like that's too high for his upside, it feels like.
I get it, because RJ Harvey does have RB1 appeal, especially if he breaks one in the passing game. But your point about Jaleel McLaughlin is the same concern we have with Travion Henderson. And maybe that's why he has Harvey there, is because arguing Harvey versus Henderson with similar concerns is that McLaughlin was getting all the goal-to-go work. But that's enough for me with Sean Payton to say, what if it's worse out of the bye? Like, what if it's, because that was Jaleel McLaughlin's first active game, and I think of the year or second of the year, in the first since like week 1. But if it's all of a sudden now a 50-50 split coming out of the bye because he just wants to get McLaughlin involved more, yeah, I'm with you. Like, Harvey's a little bit too high for me.
I would bump Judkins up as well. I'd probably play him over Henderson, especially with Sanders. The San Francisco run defense is god-awful. And unless they can jump out to a 2-score lead, I don't think that the Browns will abandon the run. Obviously, he's taking wildcat snaps every time they get inside the red zone, so there is touchdown equity to be had. But he might end up with like 20 carries in this game.
And that was the thing, is like, I wasn't super excited about Judkins last week. I mean, I still had him as an RB2, but like, that offense had been miserable. It was the risk of Sanders. I wasn't expecting 2 Wildcat touchdowns, but if they're going to direct snap, even not in the Wildcat, to Judkins on top of it with Sanders at quarterback, and that's their, I was going to say it's not a tush push, but it's their trick play to get those yardage. I mean, I'm with you. Like, Judkins over Harvey, yes. ETN versus Tennessee is just so tasty, though.
It's true. I mean, maybe it's just bump up both of those guys. Like, I would most definitely play Judkins over Harvey.
Yes, 100%.
Which Cowboys is from the chat from T. Hamilton? Which Cowboys running back should you pick up for insurance to Javonte Williams?
I've been stashing Phil Maffa. Because they've told us Malik Davis, it was Jaden Blue for a little. They don't like Jaden Blue. They just keep rolling out random dudes to be like, they don't have a clear answer. And I know Phil Maffa's hurt and who knows when he's coming back. But my point being is like, I would stash him on the IR or super deep bench, but I don't really, this is one of those ones where unfortunately, we have these every year, Pat. There's a handful of teams. It used to be the Eagles. Actually, you could argue it still might be because there's no clear answer. It was the Giants for a while that if the lead goes down, the answer is just kind of nobody because you're not going to want to start them. Like even if Phil Maffa was healthy and he was clearly the backup as of today, you're really going to roll him out in the first game with no Javonte Williams. And that's why I'd rather stash more clear options. Like at least Devin Neal was the clear option behind Alvin Kamara, like that kind of situation.
And you can't pick him up anymore, but it was clear that Emmanuel Wilson was going to be that guy as well. Therefore, if you were proactive, you just
like Samaje Perine, stash Perine instead. I know you said we don't know. It sounds like it's positive news for this week, but if Perine's out there and something happened this on Thursday, then people would be going nuts for Perine if he was playing next week.
Oh, 100%. Do you think that the Chase Brown, Perine role and all the catches outside of last week, because weirdly Chase Brown was wildly effective on the ground against the Patriots, which is just not something I saw coming. But with Flacco, he's catching 5.5 balls a game. With Burrow, he's not. I actually think Burrow kind of hurts this offense right now because I don't think he's healthy.
I could see that argument is that, as somebody brought this up too, is that Joe Burrow, before he was injured for the end of the year, was having a bad start to the season. And it's still Joe Burrow. But if I will say this, there is no T. Higgins. So I'm okay with Chase Brown, whether or not Samaje Perine's out there, just because Joe Burrow is going to be like Joe Burrow and he's going to throw the ball 35, 40 times. So he's going to have to include the backfield with no T. Higgins, even whether it's Gesicki, Yoshibus, or whatever. But if there is everybody at his disposal, Chase and Higgins out there, then I get your concern a little bit, especially if Perine is active, because that's part of the appeal of Chase Brown is that when Perine was healthy, to go back to it, even when Joe Flacco was throwing to the backfield, Chase Brown was essentially, a 15-touch guy with 1-2 receptions at most.
If anyone has a question about their team, a trade question, you need to be subbed to Mayo Media Network in order to ask that question in the live chat as we go along. And with just the two of us, we have more time for questions, which we'll get to in a little bit, primarily right after this. Look, I keep telling you about Omaha Steaks, and not every single person has got Omaha Steaks yet, so rectify that now, because they are the official sponsor of tailgating. But in the Pat Mayo household, Omaha Steaks is the official sponsor of the holiday season, because I got guests coming over, and they like meat, whether it be steaks, burger, deli-style franks. All the heavy hitters are coming in that cooler, which is so glorious to crack open, easy to make, throw it on the grill out back, and you're going to be set up, no running to the grocery store, and you actually have food that people want to eat when they come over to your house. Shipped right to your front door. There's no off-season for flavor with these guys. Make game day delicious with the official sponsor of tailgating. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code MAYO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code MAYO at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Ever get one of those scam texts that's so weird you almost respect the creativity? Like last week I got one that said, limited edition hover goat. No link click, but hey, it's points for originality, I suppose. And I was interested in a limited edition hover goat, I'm not gonna lie to you. I then Googled it. Turns out, not a real thing. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card. So you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly, right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, SECURE10, in your profile, send $5 to a friend, and within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right in your account.
Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debt cards issued by Sutton Bank. Member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
Welcome back. Week 13 rankings, wide receivers, no T. Higgins, as Jake mentioned a little bit earlier. Jamar Chase is going to be back. Doesn't seem like Drake London is going to go, but he might be back against the Jets, Jake.
Yeah, they also said last week that they're going to play it cautious and that like they understand that this season's pretty much not over, but they're teetering on it being over. They already have 7 losses, so I don't think they're. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if London is done for the year.
If they win this week, they might only be a game back in the division, so that might hustle him back.
It could, but I mean, do you force it back this week just to hopefully win that one game and stay in the race, and assuming that the Buccaneers lose? Like, I don't know. They only because they said how cautious they were going to be. But that being said, I already saw the question in the chat asking about that with Drake London. And I don't want to start Jameson Williams at this point, but Jameson Williams was 20 or nothing. Like if you legitimately look at his last 6 or 7 games, it's like 0, 18, 20, 18, like the 3 games stretch and then 3 points and then 20 and then 0. That's what you're going to get. But like with the questions that people always ask you and I every single year with like this London situation is you can't wait and risk the 0 just from having an empty spot unless you have a warranted replacement. Like if you're going to wait and it's like, oh, I don't have Drake London, but I do have, and I don't know the game. Like I'm just throwing a name off the top of my head, like a Troy Franklin. Like I could understand that. But if you're going to wait on London and your next best option is all like Adonai Mitchell, you can't do that.
Hurts or Dart this week? I think the answer is always Hurts. Hurts is great.
It's always Hurts. Like why don't people want to start Hurts?
Hey,
you get Chicago too.
You only had what, 32 fantasy points last week in the first half?
I know. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, because the concern with Hurts is always that he's not going to be a high volume passer. And then what if he only throws 1 touchdown and he doesn't get a tush push because they score from outside the 5? Or, yeah, but like that happens so infrequently that you got to play Hurts.
How much fab would you drop on Houston defense if they were dropped right now? He says he has $43 remaining in his fab. And Houston does have one of the better schedules to end the year, and they're one of the better defenses.
I mean, I
you
could see going
too.
What was that?
You have to know your league. Like, will someone spend $20 on a defense?
Yes.
If they will,
that's
spend
what
21.
I was going to say. Yeah, it will. So the other one is like Ian brought it up before, like his internet went to crap. Is that if Tampa Bay is still out there, and I had that as a fallback option because they have Atlanta, Carolina, Miami to finish things out, or I'm trying to think who else has a really good like Kansas City got dropped in a lot of leagues. They don't have a great 15 because they got the Chargers, Titans, Broncos, but even the Chargers can be susceptible to turnovers. If there's options like that, I'd probably be like, $10, $12 because I kind of do want them, but there's backup options. If the waivers are like, I don't know, Falcons who've been kind of hit or miss, the Saints, I know we're talking about them, but still the Saints defense, then I'd be a little bit more aggressive.
Strange or Loveland rest of the season? I would play Strange. This week, but I don't think you need to commit to any of these guys rest of the season. Just play this week by week.
No, because it's Strange, and he'll get dinged if Brian Thomas is back because now you're at best the third option. You're fighting with Parker Washington.
And Jacoby Myers.
I was giving Jacoby Myers the number 2 role. But we've seen how many times look at Cade Otton with and without Chris Godwin. Like that's the perfect example is like Cade Otton's cool when he's the second or third option guaranteed. Third or fourth, then you really don't want him. So it is Strange for now. Loveland's going to be back in play if something were to happen to Kmet or one of the 3 wide receivers. So like you said, commit to Strange for now, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's guaranteed for the rest of the year.
I have Dak, but both Burrow and Daniels are on waivers. Should I even attempt to pick them up with terrible? Just stop making moves. People are making too many moves. Like if you have Dak, you're good.
Yeah, but I understand at this point we are heading to the playoffs, and you don't want to have Dak hurt in week 15, and then your next best option be Cam Ward. So
sure,
depending on what.
If Dak goes down for you, you're not going to win shit anyway.
But if Burrow's out there,
I don't know how good Burrow's going to be, man.
I still think he's Burrow enough.
He is 3 weeks away from when he was supposed to return from this injury. So for these 3 weeks, he might be garbage. We see this all the time. But look how bad Lamar has been.
You're not wrong, but if your chances of stashing Burrow and he looks 90% of himself and you lose Dak in week 15, you're going to be happy you have Burrow.
All right, the stash, bro. I would rather use that for a handcuff on my bench and figure out quarterback.
Oh, I agree with you, but a lot of the handcuffs might be gone at this point in a lot of the smarter leagues that are likely listening to us.
Maybe. I mean, it seems like one guy is listening to us. The other ones might not be. 12-man Dynasty. Don't do Dynasty questions. You better hobby than Dynasty football.
You can tweet me the Dynasty question.
Yeah, you can tweet Jake those questions. Don't get me started on Dynasty football. Just play like something for like real money week to week. Like, let's get some real action on the go here. Is Ricky Bullets droppable? Considering picking up Higgins or Dortch? Which Higgins? If it's T. Higgins, I would do that, even if he's out.
I mean, even if I'd pick up Jaden Higgins for him at this point. The thing is, Pearsall is better against man, which is cool given their. I'm ready with this because I answered the same question. Is this the person who asked the question in my comments of the waiver article? Because Pearsall's much better against man. Here's the problem. They get Cleveland, who's man heavy. Actually, the man heaviest team in the league this week, but it's a Cleveland matchup. And we just saw Purdy threat it. I mean, Purdy was Sam Howell in that game. And then they have their bye. And then Tennessee is zone heavy, but it's Tennessee. So like, Indy is man heavy. And but at that point, now we're talking week 16 and then Chicago to finish things out. So like, yeah, you can move on from Pearsall at this point.
The rankings, Ian's rankings, although Ian is lost to us for this week, he shall return next week. You can get all of his rankings if you want to follow along in the description or just look at the screen. JSN comes in at number 1. Chase, Rice, Puka, Amon-Ra, Lamb, Pickens, Adams, Drake London, who's in right now. Again, let's say Drake London is out. Where would you rank Mooney? Because Mooney in Ian's rankings right now is number 51. How high would he move up?
Yeah, I'd still play Booty over him. So down, Mooney saved his day in the fourth quarter, and it's still Kirk Cousins. So he would be right there around Keyshawn. Actually, there you go. I would sandwich him in between Booty and Greg Dortch.
And we're expecting no Marvin Harrison again?
As of today, I mean, the appendectomy, or I mean, it's appendix surgery. I don't know if it was appendectomy. I'm assuming it is, but like they had no update as of yesterday, and that's coming from Gannon. So I'm assuming that means we don't have him this week and potentially longer.
Let's see, where Ian only has Michael Wilson at number 13. Feel like he should be higher if there's no Marvin Harrison. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, but who are you going to push him over? I mean, look at the names in front of him.
I would play him over Jalen Waddle. I'd play him over Chris Olave. I'd probably play him over Nico Collins. So now
Chris
we're just
Olave's getting a billion targets too. Like if you want to, but like that. Put it this way: if we're doing tiers as we usually, so we're probably breaking the tier
after Adams.
After Adams is what I was going to say. So if you want to argue for him as the top of that tier, I have no problem with it. And to be the argument in that, I would probably end that tier at AJ Brown. Like Justin Jefferson doesn't make that tier.
No, but I think that Egbuka shouldn't be there either. Number 15, just drop him down to like 30. He's not doing shit lately.
And
if it's Teddy B, it's even worse.
Yeah, and it has to do with the rookie, the adjustment. He's now getting high defensive attention. You know, Tez Johnson's still getting those big plays downfield that saved his day with the touchdown. Godwin's back into the mix. Like, so I don't have a problem. I would still go Egbuka. I mean, honestly, over Sutton. Sutton's been as bad back and forth before their bye. So like right there, the Sutton. Odunze's been bad all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden for the past 4 or 5 games. So like in that group, I want to go as far as you said, but I would put him in that Odunze, Diggs, Sutton group.
I would just swap Troy Franklin and Sutton. I might not have him as high as Ian had Sutton, which was number 22, but I would play Franklin ahead of him.
We made that argument before the bye, and you know we had Franklin in that same discussion. And Franklin, of course, to our argument, had an off game. I still believe in Troy Franklin like you do, and against Washington, honestly, they could both hit.
It's not even so much that I believe in Troy Franklin; it's just I have no faith in Cortland Sutton anymore.
That's fair, but I mean, Cortland Sutton is still the red zone option, end zone option, and that's Troy Franklin. We know is going to get. He's basically Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce is Bo Nix, and Troy Franklin. The problem is that Alec Pierce is at least catching like 60% of those balls. Troy Franklin's catching like 30% of them.
Oh, so there's questions in the chat about my main man, Mitch Tinsley. He's at 57.
Yes.
Bump him up. That guy's going to have like 8 targets this week.
I mean, it could be Yoshivas, though. It still is.
It could be both. They're probably going to throw the ball 55 times.
Well, sure, but you hate Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Listen, maybe he can come down with it. If you're going to be 7.5 point dogs in a spot where you're going to be on the field like 70% of the time, it's usually a good situation.
So, and that's where I'll agree with you. So I would have Yoshivas and Tinsley very close in the ranks, and I would have both of them over Keenan Allen, Trey Tucker, Xavier Worthy, and down from there. Like I would just put both of them, honestly, at 43. And 44.
Would you consider putting, this is such a weird question, but would you consider putting John Michie over A.D. Mitchell?
Yes, if you want the floor. He is definitively he is old Jacoby Myers before he was catching touchdowns on the Jets.
Catches a touchdown every week.
Yeah, like it's just you're going to get wide receiver 3-4 production from Mechie. Adonai Mitchell still has the higher ceiling, but honestly, Adonai Mitchell is kind of like worse Troy Franklin. Like 7 targets, two catches again, but at least this part of it was somewhat Tyrod Taylor's fault this time. It wasn't all Mitchell's fault this time.
Yeah, how I see Luther Burden at number 46. Obviously a tough matchup against the Eagles, but it does feel like if you're going to beat the Eagles, the vertical threat in an offense is the way to do it. Not to say that I want to bump him up to be, I don't know, like 25 or something, but man, Dortch ended up scoring a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he saved his day. He was awful for most of that game.
No, but he was doing work over the middle of the field.
At one point, he had 5 touches between carries and receptions for like -7 yards.
And that's why everybody loved Dortch. That's why. So wait, but what's your argument to push him over Dortch?
If I was going to take a shot here, I guess Trey Tucker falls into that almost the exact same thing as I'm talking about. So maybe I wouldn't bump him above Trey Tucker's. That they're going to have. I actually think this might be a decent week for the Raiders offense, not compared to the last two. They just played 2 of the better pressure teams in football. Not to say they have an offensive line, just the Chargers don't bring the heat the same way that this iteration of Dallas does and Cleveland does, that maybe there will be more than a second and a half to throw for Geno Smith.
Yeah, and I get that, but Trey Tucker has 1 game of 10 plus points since week 3. Like, I do not get why people still want to go to Trey Tucker, which probably means because I gave people, I said, hey, if you want to move on from DJ Moore, I completely get it. He has 1 touchdown on the year, and then boom, what happens? So let's lock it in. Trey Tucker, huge week. Xavier Worthy, huge week. Who else are we talking bad about? Because they're all going to just have big weeks this week.
I'm trying. Is it Tipton? Is it a Tipton week? I know that they cut, obviously they trade Shaheed and they cut Brendan Cooks. I was like, I wonder who's playing. So I was just watching this. Oh, there's Tipton again. I remember starting that guy on like DraftKings last year.
On the Saints, right?
Yeah, he sucks.
So, Pearsall, he's going to have a huge week now against Cleveland of all games. So there you go. But
yeah, I would bump down Pearsall, by the way.
Oh, I would too. I would have Pearsall down by Trey Tucker. But the burden, I agree with. The thing with the Bears is they're good. We've played this game with the 49ers in the past. We've played it back with Tyler Boyd. That was really good that year with the Bengals. That was still amazing for Jamar Chase. But my point being is that the third option is going to have top 20 weeks, and they're going to have really bad weeks. But also the other 2 wide receivers, because they're not the Bengals and Joe Burrow, are going to have bad weeks too. Like Odunze's had bad weeks. DJ Moore had a good week since like week 4 or 5, whenever it was. So it's now you're basically wide receiver by committee. The pecking order and the routes are still Odunze over 80%, DJ Moore right around 70, but Luther Burden is now over 60. So they're all out there a lot. It's just that this is what we're facing now. So I have no problem chasing the upside to that point of Luther Burden.
The chat asks, Tez Johnson or Alec Pierce? I get the Tez is all right. I would just start Pierce even against
Alec Pierce. Even against the Texans, Alec Pierce.
Hey, he hit his longest reception again last week on 1 catch. What a hero.
Every single time.
9 to 10 weeks. 9 to 10 weeks now.
Who's the one is it the Texans side of things? And it's not there. Who is the one in the Texans Colts game that was like every single time went off in that matchup? There was a wide receiver.
I have no idea who it is. Is it Xavier
Ask the
Hutchinson?
chat. Maybe the chat remembers. It was a few years ago. It was like every single time for like 3 straight years, the Texans and the Colts faced each other. Some wide receiver went off.
We think that Jackson Dart returns this week, right?
I would think so, but you can't wait because they play Monday night. So.
Is that bad news for Hodgins? Because Hodgins, he's a touchdown scoring machine all of a sudden.
It's not bad news for Hodgins if they keep Hodgins as the 2, but this was Slayton's first game back. And I actually thought Slayton was a great flyer last week because it's Jameis Winston chucking it downfield, and Jameis went full Jameis in that game. Actually better than full Jameis because he only threw the 1 interception. But the question comes down.
He tried to throw more.
Oh, I will say, yes, he did try to throw more in that game. He easily could have had 3 or 4 picks. It comes down to if that's the Giants. Like, I think Jackson Dart can work well with Hodgins. I actually think the biggest mover with Jackson Dart would be Theo Johnson. I think Theo Johnson becomes a better play with Dart.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible with Jameis.
No, but I think he'll be better with Dart.
Okay. Any other receivers you want to talk about way down the list? Like with no buys, it's kind of nice.
It is kind of nice. I would say he has Brian Thomas Jr. in his rankings, just like I'm going to start Brian Thomas Jr. in my rankings as well. If he's out, you would move. I would put Myers and Washington both into the fringe wide receiver 2-3 territory, right around Jameson Williams, Christian Watson range.
I wouldn't bump either of those guys above Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson's the Packers receiver who's in the good spot here.
I completely agree with you. I've been campaigning for Watson. Like since he came back, I've been telling people to pick him up on waivers, and still people are waiting. I think it's just they got so frustrated with his career that They didn't want him at this point. I'd play if you want to play Watson over both. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I would play both over DK Metcalf at this point against the Bills' pass defense.
Bills' pass defense, and he has a bum ankle.
That's true too. Yeah, he did come back in that game.
He did, but he was like limping around the entire time.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any more. Like, I don't really think you brought up Mechie. I was going to bring him up, and then that's really kind of about it.
Yeah, Booty, if you need like the big play potential, like
I really expected more for Shaheed after that trade, and it's not happening. They still running Cooper Kupp as the number 2. I thought he was going to take his job.
Yeah, it's like they haven't figured out a way to properly integrate him into that offense yet. It's strange.
Which is crazy because Kubiak did it last year with the Saints with him. Or not. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where he came from. Yeah, I don't really get it either. Let's move to tight ends. I bet you I know who number 1 is. Just let me see here. Oh, yeah, Trey McBride. Number 1.
Shocker.
We talked about this on the DraftKings show all last week, and I hit it again on the weekend update. There's no DraftKings show this week. There is a weekend update if you're looking for all of the information when people are kind of like checked out. That's why you need a Canadian giving you the news on the American holidays, Jake, because I'm not on holiday. I'm just working a regular schedule. But McBride is so much better than all of the other tight ends right now. It's kind of laughable.
It is. It's honestly Trey McBride. If you happen to have 2 tight ends, like you had a McBride and you stashed a Ferguson
or Gadsden,
honestly, yeah,
you
might be able to start both. Yeah.
McBride would be what? Like if we were doing wide receiver rankings this week, where would McBride? He would be a part of that. Like we said that the Devontae Adams top 7 tier. McBride would be in that tier somewhere.
100%. He'd be a wide receiver 1 back end, but he'd be a wide receiver 1.
So McBride's 1. Bowers, Kittle, Kelsey, Warren is the top 5. Ferguson, Andrews, Gadsden, Jawan Johnson, Dallas Goddard is 10. Henry, Brenton Strange, Kyle Pitts, Theo Johnson, Dalton Schultz, Cade Otton. I really want to bump down Kyle Pitts because he's just absolute trash, but I don't see who it could be. I did see that Darren Waller could come back, but if not, Greg Dulcich does some stuff sometimes.
I think where he has him, I'd bump him up to like the AJ Barner range and bump down Ingram.
Yeah, I'd bump down Ingram. Fannon's not doing anything with Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1 game, though. So
we only have 1 game this week. We need to win games this week to get into the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, hey, look, it's tight end. If you want to shoot ceiling at tight end, I have no problem with it. You know, the one that was already, that's not, you have to keep going to get to the person I was going to bump up, by the way.
Tommy Tremble.
Nope.
Brock Wright.
No, you got to go higher than that. He's barely in the 20s.
Barely in the 20s. Mason Taylor?
Down. Keep going.
Knox?
Right in front of him. 10 carries. We're going to get cheat code Taysom Hill, but not wide receiver. Running back Taysom Hill.
No.
Yes. Against the Dolphins?
So bad. He is laughably bad at this point.
He's the RB2, and they're going to use him in the go situations. I'll take a flyer on Taysom Hill at this point against the Dolphins' run defense.
Kellen Moore should be fired for using Taysom Hill this much. You're trying to develop a quarterback to see if this guy's going to be actually any good. So what do? In a high leverage situation? Give it to an ineffective 35-year-old coming off a major knee injury. Let's do that instead. What are we doing? If I was a Saints fan, I would be so livid with how they use Hill.
I mean, I would be too, but what are you going to do about it?
Don't fire the coach. Be like, stop, cut Hill from the team. It's like, no, you know what? Here's the best way to not use him. He's not on the team anymore. let your quarterback maybe try a 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. Maybe try that.
Oh, I remembered who it was. It was a really good wide receiver, by the way.
DeAndre
it was
Hopkins.
T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton always nuked the Texans until like his last season, I think it was.
Forgot about T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Remember when he first broke into the league and then everyone just thought his name was Ty Hilton and then everyone had to figure it out?
I do remember that.
So yeah, if you're thinking about streaming tight ends, yeah, Gesicki would be the guy, I guess. Gesicki or Dulcich. Like if you want someone who's 0% owned.
Yeah, Gesicki anytime there's one of the 2 wide receivers down. That's all you need.
You're not buying the resurgence of Colby Parkinson with Tyler Higbee on IR?
No, because I get it, but if you want to take the flyer, they're trying to work in Terrence Ferguson more as the rookie. But I mean, Parkinson's, if you're going to the Rams, Parkinson would be the one. And I'll already jump ahead for you, Pat, in the chat. I'm talking about Taysom Hill. There's no way you play Taysom Hill over Brenton Strange.
No. Like, yeah, if Hill ends up being a viable tight end this week. You're looking at 8 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. Like 10 points is like a big ask for Taysom Hill. Even
But
with
that's
the
the point. It's like a touchdown for a tight end makes you a back end tight end one. And
I would rather have the out of Brenton Strange that he might just go 5 for 55 even without a touchdown.
I agree. I do.
Looking for upside this week. Warren, Gadsden, or Henry?
Tyler Warren?
Tyler Warren? Tight end touchdown upside. It's still Tyler Warren. He gets carries from the 1 yard line. He's like good Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I know. Like they're afraid of the Texans defense is what I'm assuming, but I would still go Tyler Warren. I know it's been bad. Look, we got Daniel Jones is back to being Daniel Jones. It's the same Giants Daniel Jones we already knew.
Are you worried about Drake London this week coming back from injury and getting passes from Cousins? Is Olave a better play?
Yes, Olave's a better play.
They're right around even.
Olave's getting 1 billion targets because there's nobody else to throw to.
Tipton. I mean, you can't play Taysom Hill and Olave, Jake. They can't be number one at each of the positions.
Stop with the Mason Tipton nonsense. I mean, look at Olave's last couple games. Like,
he's been good.
I know. Since Shook took over, Shook, whatever. Let's call him a show.
He's got you shook, pal.
I know. Like 11, 10, 7, 12, 4 is the bad game against the Rams. But by the way, shout out to Emmanuel Forbes, who's actually a legitimate matchup concern like Surtain is. 8 and 13 in targets for 98, 98, 63. 57 is the down game, 104 and 70. He's hit double digits in every single matchup except for the Emmanuel Forbes matchup.
Is Dalton Kincaid out for sure? There's no possible way to know that on a Tuesday. But probably.
Come on, Pat.
Even if he is, like, are you playing Kincaid coming off an injury?
I mean, depending on for who.
I would play Brenton Strange.
I would play Kincaid over Pitts.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, I just don't want to play Pitts. Just drop Pitts. Do yourself a favor. Jared,
which means, just like the sabotage drops from last week, Pitts is about to go off for 80 and a touchdown.
100%. Jared, you had a question?
Yeah, just something from the chat from Avalanche defenseman KL Markar. Better flex, Kareem Hunt or Worthy? I just want to ask this because it's very relevant.
Kareem Hunt.
It would be Kareem Hunt, even if Pacheco plays.
Either way. Even if Pacheco plays,
because you're playing touchdown or bust with Kareem Hunt, right?
Sure. Okay.
Xavier Worthy, do you know how many times he's had a double-digit game since week 4?
Once. One. Correct. I'm not... Rice looked like he got hurt in that game, by the way. Just throwing that out
Bryce
there.
Young?
No, Rice. Rice.
Rice.
Rice
I
pulled his
thought so
hamstring.
too, but then he was fine.
He wasn't fine. He came back. He didn't seem like he was fine, but he came back. I would be monitoring that just to see what happens.
It's warranted to watch that. I mean, we didn't get it estimated on the Chiefs yesterday, right?
I don't believe. No, yeah, we did. We did get an estimated on the Chiefs. So that's how Pacheco had a full practice.
Yeah, you're right. So do we have anything on Rice? Let's check. By the way, while we're doing this, Ian Rappaport, Joe Burrow officially starting this week. Yeah, Rashee Rice hamstring limited Monday.
But that's not a real practice.
No, but limited. Limited and estimated sounds like he's probably good to go.
I would listen. He's probably gonna be out there, and even if he had, unless it's a debilitating hamstring injury, that he's not gonna play. Anytime I hear hamstring receiver, I get worried.
Yeah, you're warranted to have that concern, but at the same time, they use Rice in enough ways that like we're not talking about somebody who really needs to beat people downfield and get 30 yards.
It's helpful when he does.
It is. I'm just saying, like, it's a concern in the fact that where did he have Rice? And go back to it.
Rice at 3.
Yeah, so if you want to push Rice down to Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle range, but I'm not going to go outside the wide receiver ones.
It's funny how I think about this in 2025. Like, if it's on my season-long fantasy team, of course I'm starting Rice. But I'm more thinking about it in, like, the prop market now. It's like, do I just take the under and maybe he gets hurt? Like, re-aggravates his injury, then he's just out and all my unders hit?
I would definitely be with you on that one.
So that would be sort of like, and that does parse itself on. But it's not like you're going to sit there with, if he's playing, you're not going to be like, well, I'm going to play Isaiah Hodgins over Rashee Rice because Rice might get hurt. But you have to know that's in the range of outcomes for this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you made me think of a question. I don't want it to be bad news, but it might be. What ended up happening with your Christian McCaffrey bet last night? Because I saw when you said they can just go ahead and rest him for the rest of the game. Did it end up going over?
No, he ended up breaking off like a 17-yard run the next time he touched the ball, and then I don't think he touched the ball again. So if he just didn't get that one run, I would have won it.
Are you kidding me?
It was his last rush put him over because I had his under rushing but over yards.
I saw that.
Yeah, if you could manipulate like on underdog or on any sports book, if you play an anti-correlation type play, it just really skyrockets your odds. I was like, well, I got it. Let's just see what happens. He just got it too early. If he didn't get it like at the end of the third quarter, it was midway through the fourth quarter, they may have sat him down. Carolina looked so bad in that game.
They did. They looked really bad. Like, I don't understand how this team is winning games. Face the Falcons every single week. They'd be 17-0.
They are better at I mean, they beat the Jets on the road. They beat the Falcons on the road, but generally they're bad on the road.
Oh my God. I just saw something.
What'd you see?
Do you want to know the only team? There's only one. I'm assuming the math hasn't been correctly because it doesn't make sense that there's not two, but the only team eliminated from the playoffs already?
The New York Giants.
Yeah. How is it not the Titans?
Because technically they could win out in the situation.
And finish 7-10 and make the playoffs?
Yeah, with the way that the AFC South is set up, that they would have to win out, and then all the other division games would have to break exactly.
Oh, so they win the division?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
That's
guess.
where they're at. Yeah, it's just the Giants. So some more questions here in the chat. Would you go Worthy, Ricky Bullets, or Trey Tucker this week? I'd probably go Worthy. Yeah. Just in that spot, go Worthy. David Montgomery or Tajah Spears? I'd go Montgomery.
Montgomery. You don't want any Titans running back.
I don't think
we need one of them to get hurt.
Unless you play Titans defense, who score special teams touchdowns every week, you just don't want any Titans.
Chimere DK.
Because he scores a special teams touchdown every week.
Well, that too. But he's the lesser version of Olave on Titans.
Should I drop Dalton Schultz for Darren Waller? He's coming back eventually. I mean, if this is your starting tight end, like you spend less time watching this show and like in the chat and like actually making good moves for your team. Like if this is a backup tight end, you don't need any of these guys.
No, you're stashing the running backs and wide receiver, but there might be a deep league where waivers are picked thin, and then if you want to Waller for potentially the playoffs,
sure, go for it as your backup tight end. 7-5 lock 2-3 seed. Do I trade Egbuka for London? I would. Honestly, and I'd gamble with the fact that London's going to be either back this week or next week because I think that Egbuka is kind of hit the wall. And
who are the rest of his wide receivers?
His running backs are JT, Cook, Marks, and Benson. He has CD, JSN, and Michael Wilson.
How is he only 7-5?
I don't know. It happens. Like we saw a friend this week. He came over. He's like, take a look at this team. He showed us he was third in points and last.
That's double headers. This way you got to play him.
Bad. No, you need better fantasy defense. You got to coach your guys up.
Coach him up. I'm okay with that trade. It's definitely, I go back to the risk is like, if he doesn't play this week and then they lose, I mean, this could be a Terry McLaurin situation and we don't see him again for the rest of the year.
It is, but there's a chance that Egbuka is kind of cooked for the year anyway as like an option you'd actually want to turn to. That at least it gets that off your team if you're worried about that.
Yeah, and you have Michael Wilson to make up for that loss. Like, honestly, you're starting Michael Wilson over Egbuka at this point.
Yes, until Marvin Harrison comes back, and then you're not.
If he comes back, that's another one. Like, why bring back Marvin Harrison?
Because it's an appendectomy. Like, he should be fine. Like, once it's healed, he should be fine.
I said, why? Like,
because he's not actually injured. Like, get him out there. Like, you kind of like need to get this guy like seasoned on routes a little bit. Like, he's not that good.
He's not like that was the concern coming out of college. Actually, that was the one knock on him was that his route running. But this is Jacoby Brissett's not the answer at quarterback next year. They're probably figuring it like we talked about Kyler Murray. So what is he building? That's what my point is like, why, what's the point of bringing Marvin Harrison back at this point?
I think it's just to get the reps of like, if Gannon's going to be there again next year, it's like, hey, we need to figure this out a little bit, get a semblance of offense. Even if we have a new quarterback, we at least need our nucleus in place and just, running Michael Wilson. Like running the offense, like it's great for fantasy because McBride and Wilson are just going to get 15 targets a game. It's awesome. Just play those guys on like DraftKings every single week. Bet their overs because they're coming through every single time with Brissett. Do you see the guy they brought in when Brissett got hurt? I keep forgetting his name, but he sucked.
Oh, for that. Wait, I thought only Brissett left like one or two plays.
He did, and then this other guy came in, and he was really bad.
Oh,
I totally spacing on his name. I gotta go look it up.
I know his name too. I'm trying to think. Slovis. That's the guy. Yeah, he sounds like he plays in NFL Europe. He was USC, right? And then he transferred. Like originally, he was when he first went to college and was fresh. He was supposed to be one of the next greats.
He was the guy that Caleb Williams bumped out at USC, wasn't he?
I think it was. Yeah. Ooh, look at this reference. Yeah, USC. There we go. Look, Pat, look at that combination of figuring this out.
So, Slovis. Yeah, this guy's garbage. You need Brissett has picked up another 10 years of being in the NFL now. It's great. Good for him.
When you get to average 45 attempts per game.
But he's not bad on these 40. If he was your backup quarterback and your starter got hurt and Brissett came in the game, you would be like, okay, maybe we can win this game. He's not.
I was just about to say.
He's not an absolute dud. Sometimes you see the backup come and be like, oh my God, it's over.
No, I was just about to say, is he he might be a top 5 backup in the entire NFL. Let's see. I'm going the AFC East. Nope, he's better than all of them.
Mac Jones is better.
Mac Jones.
Jameis is the better version of Brissett, really.
Yeah, so there's 2. I would take Brissett over Mariota.
Yeah, they're different, but yeah, I'm with you. I'd probably take Brissett. Davis Mills actually hasn't been bad.
Yeah, I'd still take Brissett. Everybody's talking about the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo was good, but we haven't seen him in forever.
I would take Garoppolo. I think that he would he would be a capable backup. I feel like he could win me a game. He could win me a game if I needed him on short, something. But
would you take him over Brissett?
Yeah, I would. Flacco, I would take over Brissett.
Okay, it's still top 5.
What about the Irish assassin, Tanner McKee?
I'd still take Brissett.
But this happened earlier in the year where I had money on the Giants against the Bears. It's oh no, Russell Wilson's coming in this game. They're up by 10. This game is going to be lost. And it was. Couldn't even cover.
You would take Brissett over Russell Wilson, I'm assuming.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. Russell Wilson, when you see Russell Wilson come into the game at this point, it's oh no. Mason Rudolph actually isn't a terrible backup either.
He's not terrible, but I would still take Brissett.
Trubisky's bad. Don't let Trubisky fool you. Trubisky only comes in garbage time.
Yeah, Trubisky is terrible.
Quarterback rankings?
I was going to say, are we going to talk the quarterback rankings, actually?
Yeah, we've talked the backup rankings for days. Let's see. Oh, this guy actually does have a question first. Brian Thomas is available on his waivers. How much fab for a wide receiver needy team? He has $45 left. $45.
45.
Just go for it. No better. He might not be good, but no better player is going to become available.
Not to mention, I think some people miss this. And the point, what if you went 35 and saved $10 and you actually got him at 35? What are you getting with $10? You're not if you're not getting Devin Neal if he was out there for $10 if Alvin Kamara's hurt. So why hold on to any of it?
Dart or Goff rest of the season fantasy? It's probably Goff. He doesn't play outdoors again, I think, until the final week of the year.
And that hasn't really been a main issue since 2 years ago. It
was against Philly 2 weeks ago.
Weather. I know, but if it's weather involved, sure. But Jackson Dart has outdoor weather too.
Yeah, but Jackson Dart runs. The main thing I'd be worried about with Dart is that he gets hurt again.
I'm actually not so worried. Worried about the hurt. I'm actually worried that the running, he doesn't get as much yards because he's now going to slide. Hopefully they get.
He's not going. No. This is not. Don't project sensibility onto players like this. People did it with Josh Allen for years. Josh Allen still initiates contact. It's just what he does. Trevor Lawrence still does it.
He's a bigger dude.
I get that, but Trevor Lawrence still does it too. And it's why Trevor Lawrence had most of those injuries for the past 3 years or so. He still does it this year. He just hasn't got hurt. Dart just runs how he runs. It's hard to get that out of someone's game in 2 weeks. Maybe over the offseason, but just when the game takes over and you're running, you just do what you do.
Yeah, well, stop hanging out with Cam Scatterboo so much.
Well, listen, if he wants front row tickets to Raw, you got to hang out with Cam.
Hey, look at you for the wrestling reference there.
Josh Allen, number 1 in the rankings against Pittsburgh. Mahomes, Lamar. Lamar's too high. I'm sorry. He now has a toe. He might have turf toe now too. He can't run. He can't run.
I wonder if that's what has been the issue the entire time, and they haven't been because they're just calling it leg and foot injuries, and maybe that was part of it. They said he's healthy, and you watch him; he is not healthy running the ball. I'm not going to bench Lamar outright against Cincinnati, but behind Stafford, Dak, Burrow on the other side of the ball, you can make the argument for.
I would play Lamar over Burrow. I would play Brissett over both of them. Brissett, as you said, he's going to throw the ball 50 times.
Especially against Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I would probably, honestly, if Dart is in, I'd probably play Dart and I'd probably play Knicks over them. I definitely wouldn't have Brock Purdy at 11 over against Cleveland. Sorry.
I want to go as far as Knicks. He probably didn't update the ranks after last night's game.
No, he did. He didn't, but Purdy's just a no start for me. I'd play Trevor Lawrence. Like, bump him down. I'd play, like, he has Love at 20. I'd play Love over him. Do you think Stroud comes back? Because I don't think he's going to be back.
They said he's still in concussion protocol yesterday.
Yeah,
so
but apparently you can't clear it on a Monday, so that doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, why?
They just released the news because it's like no one's actually doing anything on a Monday.
Oh, okay. You can't clear it on a Monday. It's like the Sabbath of concussions.
Yeah, you can clear it. You can clear it on a Monday if you have a Monday night game, but if you're coming off of a game like it's like whatever.
They don't do testing.
Yeah, like
take the day off.
Like Lamar, I Dart and Nix, I would play ahead of him. That means, but I would still bump down Purdy. I'd bump down Burrow.
You can't wait on Dart though, unless we have official. Like you're not going to have to make that decision on Thursday.
Well, listen, if you have Winston, I'd play Winston over him. Jameis loves.
You would have to have Winston. I know, but you would have to have Winston as your backup plan.
Sure, but I mean, I assume that would be your backup plan if you had Dart.
Not necessarily. There might be Lamar Dart teams out there because nobody had Dart at the beginning of the year.
Until I see him want to run the ball, Lamar's not an effective quarterback, a fantasy quarterback.
Or actually run the ball well. Like he looks like he's running on a busted toe.
It does, but you can see him as he's hobbling up to the line of before Lamar would be definitive. He was going to run, he would just juke you and take off down the field. Against the Jets, he was hobbling up to the line, just looking to throw the entire time. I get that you want to look downfield. That's nice and everything, but it's not waiting for guys to get open. It's just he can't beat the guy in front of him. Unless
this is the usual suspects and he's going to come out like gangbusters this week.
Maybe. I think we'll see that at some point, but apparently this toe injury is new for him. So if you're dealing with a leg, a hamstring, which is what he missed anyway, they said his knee was banged up and now he has turf toe. I don't know if you can get better by the end of the year.
I don't think so either. Maybe again, I have a tough going much further. Like I'm with you in that range of playing Brissett. Obviously you said no to Purdy. I wouldn't play Bo Nix. I would put Jackson then Bo Nix, but I get you're one of us is going to be honestly to be 13, even 15, it's a wrong ranking. Either he's going to blow that out the window and he's going to be okay, or he's going to be all the way down at 23 like he has been.
And Lamar could throw 4 touchdowns. Again, he threw 4 touchdowns in Miami the first game he came back.
But he's thrown 1 and 0.
He is, because Henry's been more effective around the goal line the past few weeks. It's just his floor is non-existent if he's not running. He's like Matt Stafford if Matt Stafford doesn't throw a touchdown now. But Matt Stafford does every single week.
You know who ran more than him this past week? Cam Ward.
Well, Cam Ward's, they said that, Mike McCoy said that, and we've seen this since Mike McCoy took over, that Cam Ward is running more. That's actually one of the props I hit last week. I think his number was 13 and a half rushing yards. It'll probably be up to 17 and a half this week. Go over that because they're going for it on 4th down. They were 5 of 7 on 4th down against Seattle.
And they, like you said, they said that that's part of the game plan is to have him run more.
Brock's playoff schedule looks good. Should I drop him for Dart? Why? If you said his schedule looks good, why would you drop him for Jackson Dart?
They both have buys too, so I don't know.
Bye to me. Yeah, they have bye next week. But then he comes back off the bye for the fantasy playoffs. Titans, Colts, Bears. Yeah, keep Brock Purdy. He'll be a top 10 play each of those weeks.
Yeah.
Any other quarterbacks you would like to discuss? I think Love has a good game on Thanksgiving.
Why?
I don't believe in Detroit's secondary at all.
Yeah, but you also have to be. I think there's a better chance he has a better game if Jacobs is out there than he does if Emmanuel Wilson, because I actually think that the passing game, if they're going to use Emmanuel Wilson as a bell cow, you just took away 6 targets coming from Love.
Maybe, but I think that if they beat them down the field. And we don't know who's playing at wide receiver. Is Golden going to be back? I don't know. It seems like Jaden Reed
apparently they're all fine, but who cares? It's like you said before, it's Watson and nobody.
So I've theorized about this. When you say they're all okay, does that even include Jaden Reed?
No, Jaden Reed's not back this week.
He is potentially able to be back this week. He just probably won't be, right?
Yeah, they opened up the window, but there's a report already saying that they opened the window, but he's not playing this week.
So a lot of it was on Romeo Doubs, this point that I was trying to make, and I want to get your take on it. Okay. Since Tucker Kraft went out, that it kind of ruined this passing offense because he was secretly the most important player on the offense in the receiving game. Kind of like how Michael Wilson, we mentioned this about T. Higgins last week. T. Higgins stepping into the Jamar Chase role isn't good because he's not a number one. When he gets that extra attention, that's bad for T. Higgins. But someone like Michael Wilson steps up into Marvin Harrison's role is great because Marvin Harrison's not actually the one on that team. It's Trey McBride. Trying to force one of these guys to get the most defensive attention that isn't Tucker Kraft on Green Bay has kind of ruined them all.
I don't know if I was on camera, but I was smiling through that because I was talking with my buddy last night and we're talking about keeper trades and that somebody came for, he has Brock Bowers and the guy offered him Tucker Kraft because he's cheap next year. And I'm like, why? Why don't you just keep Bowers? He's like, well, he knows I want to save money. I was like, even so, he's coming off an injury next year. And then we delved into the exact argument you just made. And we're like, well, I get his point because Tucker Kraft is essentially the one for that team because it's now who's the wide receiver, but it comes down to Kraft and then figure out the wide receiver. So we're in Brandon and I, we're in complete agreement with you, Pat.
But it seems to, and that's why I think that Watson ends up becoming the best of all these guys because he actually has the skills. He doesn't have the skills to be a like top end wide receiver one, but he has enough of those skills versus the other guys on the team.
Yes, he is the one of the Packers.
He's the one of the Packers because he has the most diverse skill set. It seems like.
I do think when Jaden Reed comes back, if he's 100%, we could see him getting back to being a wide receiver 3 because he filled some of the need that Tucker Kraft left.
Defenses, the 4 I gave out in the column under 25% if you need them. You probably shouldn't this week because no teams are on bye. I had the Niners at Cleveland, the Giants at New England, just because the O-line injuries. Jets at home against the Falcons and Tennessee at home against the Jags. You probably don't need to go that low, but like the best ones out there right now, Seahawks, Broncos, Texans, Rams. Those would probably be my top 5.
I'm with you. And I keep telling people everywhere, I don't know how it happened on these sites that the Rams fell under 60% and at what point that happened. But the Rams, especially the rest of the season schedule, there's maybe like one game you're concerned about, and it's the Rams freaking defense. That would be above even the Texans for me at this point.
The other looks that I would try to give, I think I like, obviously, I think the Browns are probably a top 10 play against Purdy, like at home. Just whenever they're at home, play them because they're going to have
Eagles.
The Eagles are, but Caleb doesn't throw picks or take sacks, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but this is like, you're not wrong in that he does play safe football, but this is a game where that's one of the ones where if they jump out and they force Caleb to throw 40 times, could happen.
Yeah, the Bucs and the Patriots, just through pure volume faced on the other side, are pretty decent plays. Like the Falcons at the Jets worry me because I just don't think the Jets, like, even when they had Fields, like the Jets aren't good for the opposing fantasy defense. They just run too much.
It's your point is unless your team gives a ton for limiting fantasy or points for fantasy points. Like that's the thing is if you face the Jets, yeah, they're not going to score 30 on you, but outside of giving somebody a complete shutout, you don't get a lot for not letting points being scored.
The Saints might be a very, very sneaky play as well. That if they
can you stomach that?
I would play them over, let's see, like the Lions against the Packers. Like that's close to me, honestly.
Would you play him over the Chiefs in Dallas?
Yeah, I would. I would play them over the Chiefs against Dallas.
Okay. I think that's kind of the range. So like defense 15 to 20 range.
I'm looking at other people's rankings right now. They have like the Falcons inside the top 10 just because they're playing the Jets. I'd rather play the Saints and play against Tua. Because Tua might throw the ball to you, whereas Tyrod's just going to like eat the ball.
You're not wrong, but that could also turn into negative.
Yeah, well, just I think about the Niners. What could turn into the negative?
Tua could put up 40. The Dolphins could put up 40 points.
No, they can't. This iteration of the Dolphins can't put up 40.
Yeah, they can.
The Saints have a good run defense, and if you can slow down Achane, then like they're not scoring 40.
They've put up 30 plus. They put up 30 plus on the Bills and the Falcons.
And they didn't against Washington.
No, but I'm saying they could. That's the downside of the Saints. You have to stomach the fact that you could have a negative outcome on your defense.
The Niners are the iffy one because they are below that threshold of 25%, and it goes one of two ways.
They have no defense.
They have no defense, but they get to play Shadur. So you have to understand how you want to script this game. I think the Browns cover because they've covered every game at home so far this season. Their defense has been the best in football in Cleveland outdoors this year. But if you think that the San Francisco offense can just get up in this game, like 14-0 in like through a quarter and a half, and then Shadur has to pass 35 times, that defense is going to eat.
That's the thing. Like, there was still opportunity. Like, look at the interceptions in that game. Nobody wanted to throw the ball to their own team in the first half of that game. So that's where you can get the potential interceptions, even though they do have a poor defense. At least the back seven do get a chance to get turnovers in the interception department.
But if that game stays close, Cleveland's gonna run the ball 50 times.
Oh yeah, like you said, Judkins is going to carry it 20 times.
So, a few questions before we get out of here. Smash like if you've got a question. You got to be sub to Mayo Media Network, so please do that. I have London, Pickens, Olave, and Collins. Who would you start for a ceiling play? You can only play one of these.
Pork chop sandwiches.
What are you talking about? A terrible question.
London, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're talking, I don't know.
CeeDee Lamb. Play CeeDee Lamb. He's good. Play him.
Was Lamb one of the options?
No, it wasn't. Pickens. Play Pickens. He's good. Play the Dallas guys. They're good.
Yeah.
Roma Dunze
has been great.
What do I do? Is he benchable? For who? Another terrible question. What you play Atlanta defense this week, or would you play? I mean, I just went over that, so no. Have to play one of these defenses, Green Bay or Detroit. Probably play Detroit.
Yeah, you would play Detroit in that one.
The Saints have an excellent playoff schedule, too, as pointed out in the chat. The problem is it's still the Saints.
It's still the Saints. Yeah, we talked about that. They're actually in my stream. I put 15 to 17 defenses with 3 good matchups. They have Carolina, Jets, and the Titans. So there you go.
Mark Carr just said in the chat, the last thing we'll talk about, he just looked up Cam Ward's rushing prop this week. It's at 10.5. Over.
Oh.
It's a good spot.
Smash that.
Yeah, code Mayo at Underdog if you really want to take advantage and you get yourself
against Jacksonville?
Yeah, I thought
that was one of the things too. Is like you talked negatively, and you weren't wrong. Like Greg Dortch, especially start that game against Jacksonville, but Jacksonville is vulnerable to that, like hitting that intermediate and then after the catch for that DK play. But they're also vulnerable to somebody running.
Yeah, which Brissett is not going to do.
No,
not the fastest man on earth at this point.
Well, we're going to smash the over, and he's going to watch. Cam Ward's going to get 10 yards because he's going to run negative on one, and then we're going to get screwed.
Or they'll win the game somehow, like blow out the...
Start kneeling it?
And start kneeling and come back under the number. Yeah, it's at Underdog right now. It's at 10.
Kneel should not count for negative rushing yards.
So you just don't want anything that could, like... You don't like the variance of football, Jake. I understand.
No, I do. But Pat, I feel you should be on a kneel for props on top. Like kneel should not count for negative. If spiking the ball into the ground to stop the clock is not an incompletion, then kneel should not be negative rushing yards.
As someone who likes to bet over and or under rushing attempts, I kind of like it sometimes.
No, because you get the attempts.
Yeah, you get the attempts for it and get over.
Okay,
a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nice Guy.
What did he say? Said you're a good dude?
No, have a great birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday today?
Saturday.
You're turning 58?
Close. Yeah, 57.
57. Yeah, you're looking good, though.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So you got Thanksgiving and birthday. Was that hard growing up? Were there just people gone away for your birthday party?
No, actually, it worked out a lot of times well because everybody's free after Thanksgiving. The only one time, so my mom would be the one that when I woke up, there was balloons and streamers in the house or whatever, and it fell on a Friday one year, and she forgot to have it ready when I woke up. To this day, she still talks about it, how miserable she feels for forgetting that one time.
You should rub it in every time you see her, too. Like, remember that birthday? That sucked. Thanks, Mom.
I don't even remember what year it was.
I hope everyone out there watching has a very happy holiday. Join us at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday morning as we do the Thanksgiving Day Best Bet Show. All 5 of us, one of the most fun shows of the year. Want to thank Ian. I'm sorry, I don't want to thank his internet, but I want to thank Ian for showing up and providing the ranks. FantasyLife.com. Hit the description to find Ian's ranks. And Jake, TheAthletic.com. All of your waiver stuff is up there now, and you'll have your rankings out there. And you're one of the few people who will be on updating your rankings throughout Thanksgiving with injuries.
Yeah, through Thanksgiving, through Black Friday, oh, by the way, I asked Pat before the show if anybody's looking to buy 2 tickets to Cena's last match. Jay Felicio, good friend, can't go now. So I have 2 tickets. So, yes, but the ranks, most importantly. Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, all 3 days.
There you go. At AllOneKid on X. You can follow me at the PME. If you want my rankings, Substack-wise, it'll be sent directly to you. It's also available for free at 4for4.com, which is where I will put my injury updates and updated rankings as well, because I heard an updated newsletter once it's sent out. All right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. See you next time.